G'day guys, and thanks for tuning in to episode 7 of the Caravan build series. In this episode we build all our own cabinetry from scratch and fit out the interior of Sunny. We also build our hidden shower and flexible shower space, so stick around and we hope you enjoy. For all of the cabinetry in Sunny, we used 12mm structural plywood, and we used pocket hole joinery to glue and screw our cabinets together. So that's our first cabinet box knocked up. So this will be for the drawers. So we use the pocket hole jig and pocket hole screws to do all that. So I'll show you the back. So that bit in the middle, just that bit there, that'll screw into the aluminium frame in the wall. And then these bottom bits will screw down into the floor. So pretty happy with how that fits. So we'll just do the next bit now, which is where the sink will go. Rightio, so far we've got the fridge box and the drawers underneath. We've got the main sort of middle cabinet, the sink will be on top of that, and then we've got our drawers. We've just built the shower unit, so when we're not using it as a shower, it'll all pack down in there. The toilet will fit in there too, and it's just going to be a bench seat. It is quite wide for a bench seat, but we had to make it that wide because this pop top collar comes out 200mm. So like when you stand in here, there's still sort of just enough room. Like it's still pretty roomy. We don't want it super tight where you're right up against the shower curtain. So that, I think that overall measurement is like 780. So really it would be, we could get away with like almost a 600 wide shower if that pop top collar wasn't there. But yeah, so when it is packed up as a bench seat, it is going to be a bit of a wider bench seat, but if we put some cushions on the back, it won't be too bad. Yeah, so the idea is we're just going to put a floor in it. We're going to liquid rubber all the inside, make it all waterproof, just with a hinged lid. So when it's packed away, yeah, it'll just be all hidden as a bench seat. And when you want to use it, lift the lid up, pull the shower curtain up, and we'll have the water plumbed up into there, and that'll be our shower. So we still have a pretty good size walkway. Like there's still, I think, well, 600 or something in there. Yeah, so that's what we're up to. We're just going to flip that upside down now and put some 4mm marine ply underneath as a bit of a base, and we'll go from there. So we just screwed down that 4mm marine ply to the bottom as the base. What we'll do now is give it a quick sand, and then we'll apply that liquid rubber membrane next. So with all the cabinets painted, we're just going to go around now with this iron-on melamine edge banding. I've never edge banded anything before, so this will be a first time. We're just going to do the fronts of the cabinets and the fronts of the shelves, so we'll see how it turns out. So it's really easy. You only need an iron and a nice sharp knife. So I was just sort of rolling it out about the length I needed it. So if you're doing it by yourself, I found this to be the easiest way. Sit it at the start there, and then grab your iron, and you literally just iron it down. That adhesive just glues itself down. And then as I work back, just keeping that edge nice and straight. So we've screwed the cabinets in. We just have to screw them to the wall now. The screws I bought, they're just not working out very good, so I'm gonna have to go get some new ones, but it's screwed to the floor and they're screwed to each other. So fridge will go in here, everything's edge banded. This is this side, so cupboard under the window there, and then the tall wardrobe. We run out of edge banding, and we only had, I think, 2 shelves to go, that one and that one, so we'll have to get some more and finish that off. We're just going to cut the Tassie oak for the bench tops now. So we've got bench top here, bench top there, then we'll do a little bit on top of these, on top of the fridge box and on top of the wardrobe as well. But we're pretty happy with how it's turning out so far. What do you think, Louis? You like it? He's not impressed.
Okay, so we're in the van at the moment. We're just about to put our tiles on, our splashback in the kitchen. So these are the tiles we are popping on. They're peel and stick. We got these ones off Etsy. Like really happy with the quality. Cannot wait to see them on. So these are what they look like in packet. Gives you all the instructions on what to do. It looks fairly simple, a little bit tedious, but at the same time it's not that hard to do. So see how we go.
So it was a bit of a tricky task lining everything up, and unfortunately behind the tap there we do have a wall join. We wanted to leave it on so the wall didn't go floppy, but you can notice the join behind it, which sucks a little bit. So we didn't film us making these because my phone was full again, but the other day Elle and I made our dinette seats. So we used the same 42 by 18 primed pine from Bunnings, same stuff we used to frame up the bed frame. So we used pocket hole screws, pocket hole joinery to join all the stuff together, except for the back there we just used your regular screws, screwed it together. But for these ones, because we had to save room by not having, if we put it on its side we would have taken up too much room and the battery wouldn't have fit. So by having it this one on its side, we're able to create a bit more space. We also cut the ply to lift the lid up to access under the bench seat. So this side here will have all the electrical stuff, and then this side here will have our distribution block, fuse block, and our diesel heater, and then just for a bit of storage as well. So I'm going to go cut some more of that VJ pine lining and clad the outside of these with it. So I've just made the first bench seat, cut out the VJ pine lining for the first bench seat. Had to cut that little sort of angle on that end where it butts up against the front wall, and then done this side. I've just gone along and spack filled all of the little nail gun holes. I'll just wait for that to sort of set a bit more, and then I'll give it another light sand. I'm going to edge band this bit here, this raw edge, so it hides the tongue and groove joins, and then I might put a bit of the Tassie oak moulding like this, the stuff I used on the pop top collar, just along that front edge, just to sort of cap that off. I think that might look all right. Sort of like that. So I'm just on to the next one now, and then I'll touch back once that's all done. What are you doing there, Elle?
I am filling the holes with some spack filler, just from the
nail gun?
Yeah, that thing. So I'm just going along and just filling the little holes, and that way we can then sand, and we can just give it like one coat We should be good.
Yep. So the Dinette seats have turned out pretty good. We've just got to edge band this front edge to hide that tongue and groove join, and then we went and bought some more Tassie oak. This was just an offcut we had from the pop top collar, and I think that'll go really nice there. So we're just VJ paneling the side of the shower. So we've just got that to do. I think we're going to do a little archway for Louie and Darla's bed. I think that'll look nice. It'll sort of go with the rounded curves we've got there. So let's get into it. Alright, so we didn't really get any of this on camera, but we made all our drawers, and I've installed the drawer runners. So the way I did it was all with pocket holes, so it's all 12mm ply. Did the pocket holes at the front and the back and at the bottom, so that way you don't see the bottom, you don't see the back, and then the false front will cover that. So really all you'll see is just the side, which is just a full piece. So we got the soft close drawer runners in. Well, it's a bit hard to do this with one hand. Yep, so they all work nice. I've cut these rails as well. Because we're using the RV Labs latches, these will have to go in between, and then the catch or the striker plate will go underneath here. So I'll have to put some pocket hole screws in there and add that in just underneath or in between each drawer. Then the top I'm going to have to notch out so the striker plate can get up under the bench. But I've made the drawers for down there under the fridge. I've just got to go put the bases on them. But otherwise, yeah, that's all the drawers done. So this will be like a cutlery drawer at the top. And then these two are the same depth. I think they're like 190. That one and this one. And then this one at the bottom, it's slightly bigger. Don't know if I'll be able to open it with one hand. Give me a sec. So this one here is slightly deeper. I think it's a bit over 200. We just thought maybe for the bigger pots and pans. But yeah, happy with how they all turned out. So once the fronts are on, yeah, it'll obviously hide all of that. Should hopefully look okay. So when we're making our shower, I had to design up a shower cubicle sort of curtain. So we contacted Jo from Bags and Swags, who made our pop top skirt, and I sent her the drawing of what we wanted, and she made it for us, and we're so stoked with the outcome. We haven't put it in yet, we're just about to do that now. So basically, we've made it so it can be easily put up or put down. So we've got an eyelet put on each corner, so that way we can hook it to the roof. We've got a nice big zip for the entrance.
Looks so good.
And on the inside, we've also got her to sew on a Velcro loop to hold the shower head. So we're keen to put it up, and we'll show you once we put it up. So here we're screwing in some little white hooks into the ceiling to hang the shower from. We still have to paint this and hinge it and add the cushion to it, but then this will be like a hinged lid. It'll sit over that, and then during the day it'll just be like a day bed. So opens the space up again, and yeah, it's all good. So I'm just installing the striker plates for the RV Labs latches, and so I've cut these rails. I've found the center. Now I think to do this, you line it up so it's flush on the end here, and on the mark you can sort of see through that center mark. So once that's lined up, pencil through the hole there, mark the center, and then I've got a 30mm Forstner bit, and then that's what we use to drill that hole out. 216 and a half. 216 and a half. I'll just check it the other way. screws I'm using are just 4 gauge 9mm long screws, and they're working out pretty good. They don't come out the other side. That's the striker plate in. So I've just attached that first rail in. I did it with pocket hole screws, so under there, and it's just screwed into the side of the cabinet, so can't see them, and yeah, turned out pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the drawers over on the other side there now. So for the cutout of our kitchen sink, we wanted to save the cutout to use as a chopping board that will fit neatly back in over the sink there. So to do that, we did a plunge cut with the circular saw and then finished the corners off with the jigsaw. Job, but I plunge cut out the sink with the circular saw. I left enough reveal, so I tried to be super neat, so we kept the cutout and fits back in as a chopping board. Woo-hoo! Which is really good. So we'll just make a little cutout so it's easy to get in and out, but it all lines up. I'll have to still sand that chopping board piece, but I'm going to mark out now where the tap's going to go. And yeah, we'll drill that out. But pretty happy with how that turned out. It was very nerve-wracking. So we've got the bench tops and the tops of the wardrobe and the fridge box here. Just about to oil them up. So we've done a bit of research, we've done a bit of trial and error. So the Tassie oak trim we put up the top there, we used like a spray-on, I think it was like a spray-on clear varnish, and it turned it a little bit orange. The beeswax we used on the slide-out kitchen went a bit dark. So after sort of looking into it a bit further, we're going to use this, the Cabot's Carbothane Clear, the water-based one, because I think the oil-based stuff seems to make this Tassie oak yellow a bit. So this one here is non-yellowing, and we tried it on the back, and it turned out actually really nice. It sort of kept its natural finish. It didn't really darken it at all. So we're going to do that. It says to do 3 coats. So we haven't done a coat on the top side yet. We've only done a coat on the back. And you can see it didn't really like darken it much, which is nice. It just put a nice sort of finish on it, satin finish. So I'm going to go ahead now and put that on. This is our fridge. We bought the 90 litre upright brass monkey fridge from JCar or RTM. We went with this one because it's not real wide. It's it's a bit taller, and it's still got a good depth. So we just thought, because our van's not massive, we just thought having a narrower fridge gives us a bit more bench space. So we can afford to go up. We just didn't want to go too wide. So yeah, it works out really well. I think it's only from memory like 418 wide or something like that. I'll have to re-measure it, but I think we made the opening there like 435, I think. So yeah, we're going to try and put that in now. I've just drilled like a hole through the side there for the Anderson plug, so that way we can unplug the fridge a bit more easily under the kitchen bench there, rather than having to pull the fridge out to unplug it or plug it back in. So I'm just going to have a go at mounting this in now. Fridge is in. Bit hard to see because I can't get it all in, but oh, kind of, that looks probably a bit better. So I haven't actually screwed it in yet. So if I open up this door, I think reading in the book, these are like a blank, so I think it says to take those out and drill through the fridge. That way you can fix it to the cabinet. But this is what the fridge looks like. So it's Bluetooth as well. You can adjust the temperature from your phone, although I haven't actually had it on yet. Yeah, so fridge and freezer. So this freezer compartment can come out as well. So freezer, you got your 3 shelves there and your crisper drawer, and then your shelves in the door. So it's not a bad fridge actually. I'm keen to test it out. And it's also, you can open it either side, which is pretty cool. So you can open it that way, and then you can open it this way as well. So I think that's a pretty cool feature as well. I think, what's it say there? So cycling, it only draws 6 amps, or between 3 and 6. So I think it's pretty efficient for a 90 litre fridge. Yeah, anyways, LG compressor, we'll see how it holds up. So according to the manual, where'd they put it? Up here, it says, I took the door off, so it says there that you pull that the screw cover off, and then there's like a blank there, and you put the screw in. So it says here, where is it? Yeah, a hole needs to be drilled through the screw holder into the side panel with a screw, whatever, fix it to the wall. So I took the plug out, I've drilled, I'll flip it over, drilled through there and into the side of the cabinet. So I'm going to do this side, do these ones and that one, and then that should yeah, be able to sort of center the fridge a bit then too. So for our drawer fronts, we're using this melamine chipboard. Now I wanted to avoid using like MDF or particle board or anything like that in the van. One, for weight, two, just because it's probably not, I don't know, the best. But this was from Bunnings. It was pretty cheap. We couldn't get like a melamine face plywood locally, and we didn't want to have to pay more postage to get like a sheet delivered. So it's only going to be for the drawer fronts and the cupboard doors. We just thought it's going to be easier to clean, and they're not that big of pieces. So I've bought never cut melamine before, like chipboard. So I've bought this 60 tooth blade to put on the circular saw just to avoid chipping. I'm going to give it a go. I'm just going to try and cut this end off just to have a bit of a practice. This was just how it came from Bunnings, so it comes a bit chipped on the edge, but see how that goes, and then we'll cut the drawer fronts and mount them on. So I just had a go at cutting it. This is the bottom edge, so the bottom edge didn't chip out at all. The top though, the top edge chipped a bit, so it did chip a little bit. That was just a bit of a practice cut. I don't have any masking tape left. It probably would have been better to put a bit of masking tape down and then cut over it, so I might go get some more and then try that and see how that goes. So I just went and got some masking tape, and it is better. Still does chip a little bit, but the underside doesn't chip at all. So if I use that as the back of the drawer, once we edge band it, it might not be too bad. So pretty happy with that. So once I've got it clamped down, I've sort of figured out a bit of a process. So mark out where your cut has to go, and then I've got this masking tape which I place over the cut line, so you can sort of see through it. You can see where your pencil line is. I've already set the fence the right distance from the saw blade. Now it's just a matter of cutting it. Take the tape off. Next to no chip out, tiny little nips, but the other side is perfect. So if you can get away with that being the back of the drawer that you don't see, and then the other side is virtually no chip out, nice clean cut. Righto, well, do the honours. Look at
Easy
that.
as. And that's a 35 kilo mattress, just
Yes.
so you know. So pushing that, I actually have to like put a bit of weight on that to push
It doesn't like slam shut, which is good. It sort of keeps tension all the way to right to the bottom. So we do need to add a handle to it to lift it up. But just lift it up again for a sec, El. So we'll just show you that we got the gas struts off eBay. I think they're 535 mil and they're 350 newtons each. And then the brackets we bought from Bunnings. So we've got that sort of bracket riveted to the top of the bed, and then we've got the reverse of that bracket kind of thing. So rather than the ball end facing inwards, it's facing outwards, and we screwed that up under the bed frame. So that works well. If you, there's still like heaps of room to access under the bed there, which is really good. Elle, if you close that again, so it goes all the way to about there before it really drops, which is great. And then if you lift it up, how high do you have to lift it before the gas struts take over? You only have to kind of get it to start. Yeah, let go. Yeah, so that's awesome. We fluked that first go. We basically went just in front of that bar, and then wherever those ended up, and we just screwed them in there and hoped for the best, and yeah, it worked out well. Another job done. So yesterday I installed 2 of the drawer fronts with the RV Labs latches. So we actually bought the brushed stainless ones and then painted them gold ourselves, only because the gold ones were like $58 a latch, and the just the raw stainless ones, I think they were only 22. So it was a fair bit of price difference. So we just painted them, and they still turned out quite nice. They kind of match our tap, and we painted the handles and things and the latches as well. So the way I did this, they work pretty good. Like they and they lock, which is really good. So I used the nail gun to kind of just tack the front on first. I sort of measured where it needed to go, and once it was tacked on and it fit, I then pulled them back off, pre-drilled, and then screwed as well. So yeah, and they kind of worked out pretty good, and they latch, which is really good. So I'm just going to do these other 2 drawers and then the 2 drawers under the fridge, and touch back when that's done. So I'll try and give you a little bit of a demo of these drawers without getting in the way of the camera, but they all work really good. So they all lock by themselves. And I just used a piece of, where did I put it? Just an offcut of this 3mm, it's actually MDF, stuff we use for the template for the windows, and use that as the spacer for the drawers. I think about 3mm worked good. Any tighter, it sort of, they caught and stuff. So 3mm worked all right, and yeah, happy with how they all turned out. So the jig you'll see me using here is a concealed hinge jig that I actually downloaded online and 3D printed. So 3D printed this one. It works awesome. It's got the provisions for the screws for the hinge, and also if you flip it inside the actual cabinet, it actually has the holes for the bracket that the hinges hinge off. So it was a really handy tool. I don't think I would have been able to get the job done without it. I would have had to have bought a Craig jig. So now put the jig back over, line it back up with the hole. You can use these 2 holes in the jig now to drill the pilot hole for the hinge. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good actually. It's pretty good.
It's actually perfect.
I think I put. So with that jig that I 3D printed, after you've drilled the holes in the door, you can then flip the jig around and put it inside the cabinet. It's also got the 2 holes that pre-drill for the hinge to mount to. So that worked out really well. And the only other thing I had to add, because the cabinet is 12mm ply and these doors are 16mm thick, I just cut a piece of the 4mm bendy ply I had left over and then screwed the hinge to that first. So that way it brings the total thickness of that cabinet up to 16mm to match the door, just so the door sits on properly. So using the same construction method as the rest of our cabinets with pocket hole screws, we constructed this little overhead cupboard just for more storage, and we also made a little spot there to house our battery monitor and inverter remote. So at the moment, I'm just making the doors for the wardrobe and for the overhead cupboards. Now I'm using just pine, just because it was pretty cheap and it's nice and light. And I got our local timber shop to just thickness it down for me to 16mm to match the melamine chipboard doors. So 16mm thick, and I got them to take it down to 50mm wide. So this is the wardrobes, and then this is the overhead cupboards, and then we'll router the back out, just do a rebate in the back, and we bought some natural cane off Etsy, I think it was, so we'll put that in the back, router a nice little round over edge on the front. Before we put the cane in though, we'll give them a good sand and paint them white. So we'll do that now. So because we're housing our electrical components and the diesel heater underneath our 2 dinette seats, we decided to make a little vent out of that same natural cane, and it was a good spot to start with, just to make sure everything went well before we actually did the cupboard doors. So we ran into a bit of a problem yesterday. We soaked the cane, because you have to soak it for half an hour, so it sort of loosens up a bit. That way you put it on slightly when it's moistened up, and then that way when it dries it goes nice and tight. Although we soaked all 3 and we didn't realise we only had about 20 staples left, so which was a bit of a shame. So we started stapling them. We only got the ends done last night, which we didn't really want it to dry out and have to soak it again, but they still turned out pretty nice. We got to just adjust a bit of the cane to make it look a bit straighter. But we just went to Bunnings, bought some more staples, so we're just going to go ahead and staple up this one, and then we'll trim it, and then we've just got a little paintbrush that we're putting a little bit of glue in just in the outside to help the cane sort of not unravel or anything, but we're going to do that now. So while the shower's not being used and it's just closed up as just a regular day bed, we needed a cushion to sit on. So we bought some inch thick foam and some faux leather from Spotlight, and we just wrapped it around some plywood and stapled it at the back, and then screwed this to the lid of the bench seat. So we ordered our foam. We'll pop in the description where we got our foam from. I think it was from WA actually. It's medium density, so it's not high density, but just for the seating area, I think it'll do, and it was a bit cheaper. So we got our material from Spotlight. It's called Millard. It looks like this. It's got like a slight texture to it. So we've worked out how much we need to cut out of the corners, and basically what we're going to do, because we're not fantastic sewers and doing a zip and stuff's probably a little bit technical for us, we've more or less made like a fitted sheet for it. So we still need to, this was our first one, so it's still got corners. It came out alright. The only thing we're going to have to add and maybe change is we bunched up probably a bit too much material here, so it's gone a little bit wrinkly. So what we're going to do is going to add some little ties to then tie it up to tension it a bit more. So we kept the squares for a template to cut out. So we'll cut this next one out and we'll show you how we did it. Okay, so we've got our material cut out, so we flipped it inside out and just meeting these corners up, and we're just going to run it through the sewing machine. Bit of a back stitch. So that is the finished result. For our sewing skills, we're fairly happy with how it turned out. I think the thing that, we didn't do very well, or the thing that sort of made them wrinkle a lot, was that, we just had too much edge on it. I think if we only had like 100mm edge, wouldn't have wrinkled as much, but I still need to sew the straps on that one. So we added the straps underneath, and that helped kind of pull up some of the slack. So that definitely helped in getting a lot of the wrinkles out. Fairly happy with that. I think it'll do for, like I said, our sewing skills. We're not the best sewers, so we'll go on to the next one. So this is the finished dinette area. We've got our cushions on and covered. We finished off our table. We first painted the leg gold, and then we sort of went white, but I think I originally liked it just the standard brown colour, but we're happy with the white. The cushion covers, actually, we're pretty happy with how they turned out for our sewing skills, like we mentioned before. The table, we oiled it and we added our little round over edge, and I also cut this angle here so you can fit in through beside the wardrobe there to sit down. Also, it swivels all the way around, so you can have it sideways if you prefer it like that. Also, I added a little bit of an extension to the top of it because I think someone had cut this down originally. So I added about 90mm to it, and that way it'll all drop down and the cushions go across to make another single bed. But we're really happy with how the dinette area's turned out. It's a comfy little spot to have dinner or to do a bit of work on the laptop, and that's it there. So we're just about to waterproof the shower, and what we're using to waterproof it is this liquid rubber sealant by Versaseal. So they're an Australian company, and we bought the small Caravan bundle pack. So it comes with 4 litres of sealant, kind of liquid rubber. Yeah, it's all water based, and then you've got, so that's black, and then you've got 4 litres of top coat, which is white. So it also comes with 10 linear metres of the waterproofing bandage and 2 brushes. So the idea is 2 coats of the sealant and then 2 coats of top coat, 2 or 3 coats of top coat, I think it said. I have to reread the instructions, but we'll show you the process. We've never done it before, so this will be our first time as well, and we'll just see how it goes. So this is the Geofabric, the waterproofing bandage that comes with the liquid rubber sealant from Versaseal. So it does say on the instructions to pre-cut this first, as it's much easier, so that way once you've painted on the first coat in the joint, you can just quickly pop this in and then paint over it to get that nice seal. So we're just going to do that now. We're going to lay it out roughly where they need to go and cut all our different pieces. That way, yeah, when we brush it all in, we can just quickly pop it on. Righto, so we've roughly cut just where all this bandage is going to go, so that way we can just take it off, put a coat down, lay that in there and brush over it to seal it all up, and everything's ready, pre-cut, ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to add a bit more over the screws too, like where we've screwed the shower base into the floor. So we're going to mix it up and apply the first coat. So the reason we chose to use Versaseal's liquid rubber coating to waterproof our shower area was because, according to their website, it's capable of up to 800% elongation and stretching and then returning back to its original shape or size as necessary. We thought that being, a Caravan, we'd have no problems with ground movement and it cracking. So we'll just have to see how this holds up over time. So this is the result after 2 coats. It does go on like a brown colour, but it dries black. So we've waterproofed it all. So today we're going to do 2 coats of the white top coat to finish it off. So this is the first coat of top coat over the base coat. So you can see there's a fair bit of bleed through. So we're going to go over it again. We may need to do 3 coats all up, but we'll see how it turns out after this next coat. So that's the result after 3 coats of top coat. Looks really good. We're happy with how it turned out. We're just going to give it 24 hours now to cure, and then we can start drilling the holes for the drain and for the mixer and the shower hose and stuff. So yeah, hopefully it's all watertight. I'm sure it will be. Looks like pretty good stuff. Just got the Sirocco on to allow a little bit of airflow, help it to dry a bit quicker. So these are the snap fasteners we're using. We bought these from Bunnings. They come in an 8-pack, so they come with both the stud and the socket and cap. So I don't have the proper gear to actually press these studs in. I've got the gear to do the eyelets at the end. I bought like an eyelet kit. So I made up this. I don't even know if this is right, but I just found an old bolt, M8 bolt, and ground the end of it down. So I used that to press that in and flare that out, and then just use the eyelet tool to rest that in on that side. Where is it? Like that. Obviously up the other way, so that'll sit under. Whoops, that'll sit under here, and then use this one to finish like flattening it out. But we'll show you how we do that anyways. An initial whack, it kind of starts to flare it out, and then I found the best way to do it after that is just use that press stud tool and then just finish flattening it out, and that's it, pressed in. So we'll go around and finish doing them, and then we'll take it back in and put those studs in. So this is our flexible shower space. We're very happy with how it's turned out. It's pretty nice and like taut. Is that the word? Taut, tight. So the way it works, zip's nice and there's no slack in it. And if you have a look there's still loads of room. So we've got our little porta potty in there. It's all waterproofed. I'll just step in and show you just roughly the size. So yeah, zip it up. I won't zip it up because you won't be able to see, but yeah, there's still plenty of room. Shower head. So obviously we can take this toilet out or move it around as we need to give us a bit more room to shower, but I think it'll be good. So for our little day bed for the hidden shower, we also added this little catch or latch and put a little eyelet in the side of the bench there just to hold the lid open while we're using the shower, which we'll show you how that works now. So this is Louis and Darla's little archway all finished off. What do you think, you two? We also finished off this shower space just with a bit of PVC moulding just to cap off that VJ panel. And the only other thing I've got to do is just put a silicone bead down there to finish it off. I forgot to do it when we did around the bottom. But otherwise, yeah, I think we're pretty stoked with how that little archway's turned out. So this is the chopping board finish. So it's oiled up. We've added the round over edge. We've sanded it. We've added this little cutout. So it, yeah, has a few purposes. So one, it gives you a little bit more bench space. Also, we've been using it on our travels at the moment to cut up our pizza and that on. And it also, this cutout serves as a purpose for the waste hose for our water ionizer to sit in as well. So yeah, we're really happy with how it's turned out. We like that the grain all lines back up because it's the cutout from that same spot. For this fridge box, we also added a little vent either side just to help dissipate a bit of that heat that builds up behind the compressor. But yeah, so far it's working well. Noticed in this episode that we've got some sheer curtains and some roller blinds up. So we made these sheer curtains ourselves. We did it as a no-sew option, so it was really easy to make. And the roller blinds we got from Bunnings, but we're going to release a little episode after this episode on how we went about making those and how we fitted up our roller blinds. So stay tuned for that one. Well, that is a wrap of episode 7. Thanks so much for tuning in. We really hope you enjoyed this one.
Don't forget to also like and subscribe to our channel, guys. It's the best way to support us. Click on that bell icon and it will notify you when our next episodes come out.
If you have any questions, just pop them in the comments below and we'll get back to you. But otherwise, we'll catch you in episode 8.